In our last episode of Metang Makes Friends, we were introduced to Metang, a psychic-type steel Pokemon raised by Team Rocket scientists. Through an unexpected series of events, Metang was abandoned in the Kanto region. Escaping his cage with help from a mysterious Pokemon, Metang was alone to fend for himself for the first time. Metang accidentally found himself in the forest, a place that he'd never been before. Here Metang had the chance to start over again. Metang had only ever wanted one thing, and that was to make friends. He witnessed a beautiful act of love, and saw all the new Pokemon in the Kanto region. This filled him with hope. He'd only ever known Team Rocket, and it was time for a change. So welcome back, Pokemon fans. This is a review of Metang. Well, actually, it's more of a story. If you haven't seen the first part of this story yet, I would go back and watch it. It's called Metang Makes Friends, Part 1. In this video, we'll continue with Metang's adventures, but we'll take a closer look at Bulbasaur and his little family. So this is Metang Makes Friends, Part 2. Meet the Bulbasaurs. Hang on tight, Pokemon fans. We're going for a ride. There's lots of new Pokemon in this video. I hope you enjoy. Now let's get back to our story. Oh, and one more thing. No Pokemon were hurt in the making of this movie. Now without further ado, our little city Pokemon found himself in the country again, for the second day in a row. He was excited for all the new possibilities. He remembered seeing a Snorlax from the day before, and thought that was a great place to start. Metang tried to wake up Snorlax. Snore, snore. But of course, all Snorlax wanted to do was sleep. It was still early in the morning. Maybe Snorlax would be awake later. Metang headed down to the river next, where he found a friendly little group of Squirtles. Squirtle! The little Squirtles were happy to welcome him. But then Metang remembered, he doesn't do so well in water. Squirtle? Next, Metang found a little group of Rowlets to perch with. But they were only visiting from the Alola region for a very short period of time. Metang wasn't ready to go to the Alola region. He just got here. Metang also tried to make friends with the Geodude. 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 But this Geodude was kind of a loner, who wasn't interested in making any new friends. Though Metang hadn't been successful yet, he didn't let this get him down. In fact, he spotted a group of Pokemon just across the lake. He couldn't tell what kind they were. It was a trio of Tauros. Metang flew closer to say hello. He'd never seen a Tauros before. The first thing he noticed was that these three Tauros were pretty big. They had horns, and they weren't quite as responsive as the other Pokemon. Metang kept his distance just to be polite, as they were finishing drinking water. Just as Metang was about to say hello, the main Tauros noticed him. Metang fled for his life. He'd never been so afraid of another Pokemon. The look in Tauros' eyes was absolutely terrifying. Metang didn't realize that saying hello to a Tauros would come with such consequences. He didn't know what he did wrong, but he waited as long as he could to see if the coast was clear. Huge mistake! The Tauros had waited for Metang to come out. Metang was absolutely petrified, and Tauros saw those little eyes as targets. Metang tried to politely wave, but I think he just made things worse. Tauros had one thing in mind. Metang fled for his life, again. He was definitely rethinking being friends with Tauros, especially with that crazy look in his eye. But Tauros was determined to hit his bullseye. Tauros used Horn Attack, and sent Metang flying. Yep, lesson learned. Tauros, bad idea. Matang decided to return to his new home. He was starting to feel a bit down. Walking just above him were a family of Bulbasaurs. It was the same little family that he saw the day before. The smallest Bulbasaur saw Matang down below. Matang didn't notice them until he heard a loud yell. Bulbasaur! The little Bulbasaur was too close to the edge. She was about to fall off. The other Bulbasaurs tried to catch her. The little Bulbasaur must have known that Matang would catch her. Not knowing that Matang was down below, the other Bulbasaurs assumed that Matang saved the little Bulbasaur. The Bulbasaur family was happy to have her back, safe and sound. Matang recognized them from the day before. As the family embraced the little Bulbasaur, Matang didn't know what to do. He continued on his way home. Papa Bulbasaur noticed that Matang was leaving. Bulbasaur! Matang turned around at the call of the Bulbasaur. Bulba! Matang hovered back to the family. He felt like they had something to say. Then the little baby Bulbasaur came forwards. Bulbasaur! She reached out with her little vines to say thank you with a hug. Matang remembered the girls from the day before and the little Pokemon they were holding. He'd never been hugged before. He didn't know what to do, but he felt warm and fuzzy inside. Now Matang knew exactly what that little Pokemon felt. Matang didn't expect this from another Pokemon, especially not a little Bulbasaur like this. They were completely opposite. After this, everything changed. The little Bulbasaurs invited Matang to spend the day with them. Imagine that, a Matang with a bunch of grass-type Bulbasaurs. Matang had finally made friends. It wasn't just one Bulbasaur. It was a whole family of Bulbasaurs. The little Bulbasaurs stayed busy. They traveled all over the forest, with Mama Bulbasaur and Papa Bulbasaur leading the way. And now Matang was part of the group. And boy did he learn a lot. The little Bulbasaurs did everything together. They played together, they ate together, they drank water, and went swimming together. With each experience, Matang would learn more and more about the little Bulbasaurs. The Bulbasaur family always made sure to include everyone. They would use their little vines and come together and play games. During this game, Matang learned all their names. There was Baby Bulbasaur, Boba! Mama Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur! Curious Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur! Happy Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur! Sleepy Bulbasaur, Papa Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur! And Uncle... Wait a minute. Not Uncle, that's Baby Bulbasaur. And Uncle Ivysaur. Ivysaur. Uncle Ivysaur was the only one who didn't get a turn in this game, but he was still included, and helping everyone else. When it was time to eat, the little Bulbasaur family would all gather food together. On this day, the family picked raspberries in the Briar Patch. Right before they would eat, they would all celebrate their harvest by putting their little vines together and saying thank you to the forest. Each little Bulbasaur got their own raspberry. Even Sleepy Bulbasaur. Uncle Ivysaur got a few extra, just because he was bigger. Papa Bulbasaur offered Matang a raspberry. Matang had never had a raspberry before. It was really good. Now we knew why Baby Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur were covered in raspberry. Matang noticed that there were extra raspberries, but no one ate more than they could handle. They all seemed content. If there wasn't enough for everyone, they would always share. Matang wasn't sure what was better, the raspberry or eating together as a family. After Uncle Ivysaur and Babysaur made a mess, the Bulbasaur family went down to the river to drink some water and to go for a swim. Curious Bulbasaur and Happy Bulbasaur loved to splash everyone. They were like the pranksters of the group, and they thought it was funny, especially Happy Bulbasaur. Both Mama Bulbasaur and Papa Bulbasaur made sure to take care of baby Bulbasaur, so that she wasn't afraid of the water, and so she could have fun too. Matang wasn't the best in the water, but he enjoyed watching them all have fun. After playing in the river for a while, the Bulbasaur family decided to play hide-and-seek. Matang was starting to realize that the strength of the Bulbasaurs came from each other. They were really good at working together and solving problems. Because of this, Matang started to help as well. Every now and then, he would take care of baby Bulbasaur and give Uncle Ivysaur a break by taking care of sleepy Bulbasaur. The little Bulbasaurs weren't the best at hiding, but they still tried really hard. If any of them needed help, the others were right there for them. Matang couldn't help but smile at all their creative little hiding places. As it started to rain, the little Bulbasaurs made umbrellas. They weren't going to let the storm stop them from traveling through the forest. Baby Bulbasaur helped Matang stay dry. Every now and then, if they were too far from home, Uncle Ivysaur and Papa Bulbasaur would make a temporary shelter. And now they had Matang to contribute as well. He was so excited to help. The Bulbasaur family would huddle together to stay warm, and they insisted that Matang join them. This was definitely an adjustment for Matang. He was used to sleeping alone. The next lessons were the most important lessons that Matang learned from the little Bulbasaurs. The Bulbasaurs traveled the forest, not only to have fun, but to help any Pokemon in need. Mama Bulbasaur would always lead the charge. Bulbasaur! The Bulbasaurs were so used to helping each other, it was easy for them to help other Pokemon. Uncle Ivysaur was the strength of the team. Mama Bulbasaur was fearless. The little Ditto down below had a frown on its face. It was a young Ditto who didn't know how to use its abilities yet. In no time at all, the little Bulbasaurs brought the Ditto to safety. The little Ditto was scared, but after being comforted by the Bulbasaurs, it said thank you, Bulbasaur, and had a little smile on its face. Matang was amazed. The little Ditto was so grateful. The Bulbasaur family thought it was their duty to help other Pokemon, even if it was dangerous. Every now and then a poacher would come into the forest, trying to catch Pokemon in the Kanto region. You're mine, little Squirtle. Squirtle? Squirtle? Squirtle! 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 The Bulbasaurs would hear the cries of other Pokemon after they were captured. Bulbasaur? Bulbasaur! The two little Bulbasaurs yelled out to calm down the captured Squirtle. Curious Bulbasaur and Happy Bulbasaur were the ones who usually created the mischief. They made sure to yell loud enough to create a distraction for the unsuspecting poacher. What? Ow! The Bulbasaurs never hurt the poachers. Gotta get my gun. Whoa! Whoa! No, no, no! Help! No, 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 no! Whoa, what was that? But they made sure to give him a lesson that they wouldn't forget. Papa Bulbasaur used Vine Whip. Uncle Ivysaur and Papa Bulbasaur made sure to cool that poacher down. Bulbasaur! These two were pretty proud of themselves. The traps that the poachers would use were getting tougher and tougher to break. Matang was able to help out with this one. He was able to use his strength to pull the net out of the ground. Squirtle? Squirtle! Squirtle was happy to be free. After returning Squirtle home safely, Matang's favorite lesson came next. He finally found out what the little Bulbasaurs did with the extra raspberries they collected. Mama Bulbasaur insisted that they share the extra raspberries with the rest of the forest. Papa Bulbasaur and all the other little Bulbasaurs were in full support. Each one of them carried a raspberry. Uncle Ivysaur carried a few more, because he was bigger. Even Sleepy Bulbasaur helped. Matang helped as well. This was an important lesson for Mama Bulbasaur to teach baby Bulbasaur. Ivysaur. Eevee. The Bulbasaur still had more to share. Metang approached the next Pokemon with caution. It was the trio of Tauros that he approached before. The main Tauros had his eye on Metang again, but the Bulbasaurs didn't fear them at all. They shared raspberries with each Tauros. Papa Bulbasaur and Mama Bulbasaur watched from a little hill above. Metang assumed they kept their distance, just to be safe, to protect baby Bulbasaur in case anything went wrong. Bulba! Bulba! Something was a little off though. Happy Bulbasaur had a look in his eye. He looked happier than usual. Metang was shocked as to what happened next. Happy Bulbasaur hopped on the back of the main Tauros. It looked as if he was going to ride Tauros. Metang could not believe what he was seeing. Happy Bulbasaur was riding the back of Tauros like a cowboy. This was the Bulbasaur Rodeo, and Happy Bulbasaur was the first contestant. The first ride was a little rough and out of bounds. The second ride was much smoother. Happy Bulbasaur couldn't stop smiling. Tauros didn't seem to mind the Bulbasaurs at all. Mama Bulbasaur was next. She was absolutely fearless. No one could beat Mama Bulbasaur. Metang made up with the Tauros. He was continually surprised by the Bulbasaurs. Watching them ride Tauros gave him a great idea. Metang decided to take the little Bulbasaurs for a ride. And since Happy Bulbasaur was such a little daredevil, Metang decided to start with him first. Bulbasaur! Both Baby Bulbasaur and Happy Bulbasaur made sure to strap in tight. The little Bulbasaurs had never flown anywhere before. This was their first time. Boba! Boba! Baby Bulbasaur was excited to say hello to the other Pokemon from above. Metang was happy that the little Bulbasaurs were having so much fun. They even flew by the little Rowlets from the Alola region. Metang made sure to give each Bulbasaur a turn. And because he was so strong, even Uncle Ivysaur got a turn. Ivysaur! Uncle Ivysaur was nervous at first. Once he realized he had nothing to worry about with Metang, Uncle Ivysaur had a blast. Ivysaur! Metang was so happy with his new little Bulbasaurs. He couldn't imagine anything better. The next day, the little Bulbasaurs had something special for Metang. Bulbasaur! The Bulbasaurs had done enough for Metang. He didn't need anything else. Bulba! The little family gave Metang a flower blossom to make him an honorary Bulbasaur. The flower blossom meant so much to Metang. The little Bulbasaurs had picked the color yellow for friendship. Metang wore his little blossom everywhere. Wow, Red. I'm so excited that I just caught this Pokemon. Ash, did you just see that? I think it was a Metang, but it had a flower on its head. What? Metang doesn't have a flower on his head. Yeah, well this one did. Should we catch it? No, I'm good. Even though the yellow blossom meant friendship, Metang didn't see it that way. Metang was beginning to see himself as another member of the family. He had his place among the Bulbasaurs. He fit right in. They treated Metang as one of their own. He'd learned so much from them. He was beginning to understand love. Metang had never been so happy. The next day, the Bulbasaurs were planning for their daily adventure in the forest. Papa Bulbasaur was checking on Sleepy Bulbasaur. Bulba! Bulba! While Papa Bulbasaur was busy with the little Bulbasaurs, Mama Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur encountered something strange. It appeared to be a little yellow helmet. Both Mama Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur wanted to get a closer look. Ivysaur. Bulbasaur. Both Mama Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur were very cautious. Bulbasaur? Ivysaur. The Bulbasaurs definitely weren't ready for what happened next. A little metal creature popped out from underneath the helmet. This definitely wasn't a Pokemon from the Kanto region. Bulba! Mama Bulbasaur yelled for help. Bulbasaur? Bulbasaur! Bulba! We'll take that one too, Astaroth. Put it in with the big one. It's about time you Matars were good for something. Papa Bulbasaur took action right away. Bulbasaur! Oh look, Astaroth. We have a little hero. This one thinks he actually stands a chance. I have something special right here. Just for you. Bulba! Papa Bulbasaur went down right away. Take this one instead, Astaroth. Leave the other one. These foolish beasts think they actually stand a chance against us. Both Papa Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur were placed in a cage. They'd both been shocked, along with Mama Bulbasaur. Ivysaur. Bulbasaur. The other little Bulbasaurs were scared. Stay back, little beasts. Unless you want to end up like these two. Let's move, Astaroth. This completes our little collection. We've no time to waste. Get us up in the air. You Matars meet us at the rendezvous point. There's not enough room for you now. Dr. Wily is waiting. Bulbasaur! Bulbasaur! Matang arrived to the shouts of Mama Bulbasaur. His stomach dropped. Matang made it to the Bulbasaurs. Bulba! The machines had left. He looked around quickly. He didn't see Papa Bulbasaur or Uncle Ivysaur, but he did spot the two little Matars they left behind. Matang wasted no time in pursuing the little henchman. Will Matang get up in time to save Papa Bulbasaur and Uncle Ivysaur? And who are these mysterious new machines? Where do they come from? And what do they want? Tune in next time, Pokemon fans, for the next episode of Matang Makes Friends. So there you go, Pokemon fans. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and you got a good look at Tauros. This is a great figure. It's just a little small for a ride Pokemon. Like Ash or Red wouldn't fit on this one. That's why I used the little Bulbasaurs in the video. Plus I thought that'd be kind of fun just to change it up a little bit. I really like the new Bulbasaur from Wicked Cool Toys. It may be a Walmart exclusive. I haven't seen it anywhere else. The design is really nice, and he's a little bit bigger than the other Bulbasaurs. The other little Bulbasaurs in the video are from Tomy. Curious Bulbasaur is from Remint. Hopefully you enjoyed the story with the Bulbasaurs. Thumbs up to all the figures in the video. It's really starting to be a mix between Tomy and Wicked Cool Toys. If you have any other questions about the figures, please ask in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Hopefully you're all excited that Detective Pikachu comes out next week. I also included the Black Reyes Overwatch figure. They just came out and I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it would make a good Pokemon poacher. I did pick up some of the other Overwatch figures as well. So if you like Overwatch, look forward to seeing those in some of the videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in, Pokemon fans. Stay tuned. I have a lot more to come. And I'll look forward to seeing you, Matang, the little Bulbasaurs, and all the other Pokemon in the next one.